Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast, where you're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs along the way.
Yes.
And the weather's picking up, days are getting longer, vibes are getting up, unless you're an Arsenal fan. And look, in the Premier League, we're back with a Premier League roundup. No more Champions League to talk about conveniently. As we did get knocked out, guys have been asking for a Premier League roundup. We're here. We're going to be talking about the top four race that heating up. Some big results over the weekend. Who knows? We might talk about the Dallas Mavericks getting the number one draft pick, thanks to Rico Harrison.
That's so
Rico Harrison. Yeah. So we got to change the name now.
I respect his game now.
1.8% chance.
I respect his game.
LeBron's coming out laughing. Kyrie's coming out laughing. Kevin Love's coming out.
Kevin Durant.
So I think Rico Harrison's an appropriate name. We can change that. But before we do all of that, we're going to start with Arsenal's trip to Anfield. Because regardless of where the two teams are, this is always a big game. It always seems to be an emotional game. I think it's the highest scoring fixture in Premier League history.
Wow.
Liverpool, Arsenal. And when you think about it, I can't even remember the last time.
We haven't had a 0-0. But yeah, it'd be a bit lopsided.
3-2.
I can't remember the last time we smacked them like 4 or 5-0 or 3-0.
Yeah, 3-1 last year.
Okay, well.
And we did smack them in the performance. I remember there was a 4-1, when Ozil scored the free kick, Bellerin goal.
Yeah, great times. And that was, that's like 10 years ago.
There was a 3-3.
Yeah.
So high scoring fixture. And there was another 2-2 draw. That's now 4 years since Liverpool beating Arsenal. 3-4 years.
It's been quite a while.
And when Arsenal go to Anfield and they have a poor first half like they did, and they go 2-0 down, I think that I'm getting worried because I've seen this before. Yeah, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
When that second one comes and they're still showing the replay of the first one, it's not a good sign, right? And I'm thinking that this game could end 3-4-0. And it's a real stain from like this whole record that we haven't conceded 3 goals in a game since we played Luton.
Yeah, which is also crazy.
Right? Yeah. And when they score 2 after 20 minutes, that's what I'm thinking. And the most annoying thing out of all of that would be like, there's certain things where you feel like, well, I thought we were kind of past this, like annual slapping at Anfield.
Yeah.
I thought we'd kind of moved past this. Yeah, we were a better team, and to have got to go back there. I know it doesn't mean anything. Liverpool won the league. Top 5's probably wrapped up for Arsenal anyway, but Arteta obviously got into them at half time. They came back out very different. We were moving to Liverpool in that second half. Big game Martinelli doing what he does. Unpredictable goals.
Headers from the 9 position. I haven't Europa League stuff. I haven't seen that from Europa. This is the Europa League campaigns.
9 Nelly.
9 Nelly
is what they're saying. And just a couple points on this. The overarching bigger point on this was obviously Trent getting booed, and we'll get to that. But quickly, Kiwior, I need to make an announcement. That guy's officially unsellable. Serie A teams don't come in for him. Don't bid for him.
Stay at home.
It's all right. If you need someone, Calafiori, who I like a lot. Tomiyasu, who I like a lot. But Kiwior,
no. Start with Zinchenko.
Yeah. Zinchenko, that's a no-brainer. Yeah. But Kiwior is officially unsellable. We need that guy. That guy's going to be an important piece of the project.
Yeah.
More important than I ever thought he would be. So he needs to stay. And the bigger talking point was a couple months back. You actually said to me that if Mourinho gets 7 goals in the we don't know what he is season, we have no choice but to be on board with the signing.
100%. As I verbatim.
And after his equalizer at Anfield, he has 7 goals.
That's crazy because obviously I know he scored, but putting 2 and 2 together with the tally now.
I had to check yesterday. I was like, well, who's our top scorers?
That is
still Havertz, by the way.
It's got 9.
Right? He's been out since the end of January.
So what, Mourinho brace, final day of the season, Southampton.
Martinelli and Trossard on 8, and then Mourinho on 7.
Oh, that is crazy. I respect it, man. I respect it from Mourinho. I do think that he actually gets unfair criticism in his midfield role. Obviously, everybody loves him off playing for the number 9 now, but guys keep on saying, "Oh, but he's shit in midfield. He's terrible in midfield. His cheeks." He's had some bad games. Don't get me wrong, but he's also had some good games.
Yeah,
He scored versus Liverpool at home in the first leg, playing from midfield. So,
and in this game, guys want to get onto him, but he played in midfield this game.
Look, I think some narratives, I mean, I guess it's all players, but some narratives, especially with Arsenal players, can just stick. Someone says something once and everybody just goes, oh, well, that must be the case all the time. Yeah. As I'm saying, as you're saying, if Mourinho gets 7 goals and we don't know what he is season, he's a good signing.
Yeah.
He's a good signing. Be that midfield, be that striker, be
you
that
have no choice but to be on board with.
Yeah, literally. Well,
the proof is there.
All summer, no one would have expected 7 goals out of Mourinho for the money that we paid for him. No one thought that goal scoring was an attribute of his.
Yep.
And it's not just that he scored 7 goals, and it's not like his cannon for the goals. These are points on the board.
All of them translate to points.
Those are points on the board.
I was actually thinking about, when I told you that no Arsenal player seems to score a brace, right? Even if we score 4 or 5 goals, there might be 4 or 5 different goal scorers. And I'm looking forward to how much a striker, potentially Gyökeres, might change that. But it made me think, who's the last player to score a brace? And Mourinho at Leicester. And I think the next Arsenal player most likely to score a brace is probably Mourinho.
Yeah.
Till the end of the season.
I had a different POV to this game because I didn't actually watch it.
Did you go back and watch it or not?
I still haven't had a chance to go back and watch it as well. I will go and watch the second half. But my initial reaction at full time, I literally didn't watch it, didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. I was just only able to check the score at full time. I felt relieved. I was like, that's a result. I almost didn't care how.
Did you know that we'd gone 2-0 down?
I didn't know that we'd gone 2-0 down. I didn't know anything. I didn't care. Sorry, I didn't know how we played. I didn't know what was what. I literally just saw 2-2 and a red card towards Arsenal, and I was like, results. I'll take that every day of the week. We haven't lost to Liverpool in however many years. It would have been bad. I mean, it would have been dark. It's dark kind of anyway, but it would have been dark to have gone through the week we've gone through and then to have been pummeled by Liverpool.
Yeah.
That's like every Arsenal fan has either been shouted at for going backwards or has to accept that we've gone backwards internally or whatever. I think getting pummeled by Liverpool would have been too much. Like we've gone backwards, I accept, I admit, we haven't progressed, all this kind of stuff. But we also aren't like a million miles away from Liverpool, despite what the points tally says.
They haven't beaten us this season.
So to get pummeled by them, it would have been too cruel, in my opinion. We've already suffered a lot. Hence last week's pod.
Yeah.
So, we've been through too much. So I was happy. I'll take that, man.
Yeah, and it matches what City did.
Yeah.
Right, Gap's the same. Picked up the same amount of points. Move it on. Go to the next week.
One step closer.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a good point to get in terms of making top 4. But look, that's enough on Arsenal. We don't need to talk about Liverpool and what they were doing in the game. Liverpool won the league. They went on holiday after Chelsea. They came back. They're back in Dubai now. They're obviously clearly on the beach, so we don't need to talk too much about them. The bigger point around the whole thing was Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously, he didn't start. Arne Slot told us in the press conference that Conor Bradley would start. Trent came on, and it sounded like from home.
Yeah. No, they were boos.
Scousers don't get on to me.
Don't plead the
Liverpool
fifth.
Fans
don't plead the fifth.
I'm hearing guys here in the stadium saying, "Oh, it was maybe 20%."
Nah, bro. Well, Sky maximized that.
Yeah,
Sky turned it up. They had their sound engineer.
It sounded like from home. Yeah, that most of the crowd were booing. Yeah, and from the reactions that we've seen on Twitter from Liverpool fans, I know that's not accurate representation and whatever, but he then comes on the pitch and the crowd are booing every touch that he takes. And everyone seems to be prefacing this conversation with, I'm not telling Liverpool fans how to feel, but I'm not with that yet. I don't care about all that. If I want to tell Liverpool fans how to feel, I'll tell Liverpool fans how to feel.
Thank you.
But it's not even about that. Like, we're just here to tell you how we feel about it, yeah? But I don't know why everyone feels this need to preface this conversation with, "Oh, I don't want to tell Liverpool."
It's because
I'm
Jay
scared-
come out and
I'm
started the
scared
whole
of Liverpool
PR
fans.
thing.
And when it's Arsenal, nobody prefaces it with, "I don't want to tell Arsenal."
We can't celebrate a win.
Yeah.
Odegaard can't celebrate a big
I don't
win
wanna
with the
tell
camera.
Arsenal fans,
Get back down the tunnel.
that they need
And
to
now
leave the stadium, leave the concourse, go home. Nobody prefaces it with that. Like, we know that. Like,
he shot himself in the foot though. The guys are
Yeah,
always
yeah.
gonna remind. Don't tell me how to feel.
Yeah.
Guys are always gonna remind him.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't tell me how to feel.
So that's I don't know why people keep doing that. And that's not what we're here to do. You man can feel however you want to feel. We're here to tell you how we feel and our thoughts on the situation. And look, I don't think you should ever boo a player wearing your shirt. And that's not me like taking the high ground. Other clubs have done it. Arsenal have done it.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's right. I think, but, yeah, there are circumstances. 'Cause I know he's on the wall behind Michael, yeah. But if you start telling the fans to F off and you start doing a bit of a madness, then I'm going to accept that the fans can boo you, yeah. So, but I feel like that is a very unique situation.
Yeah.
For the most part, I don't think you should boo someone wearing your shirt.
I think the Liverpool reaction to the Trent thing is crazy. I genuinely think it's crazy. And I think Liverpool fans, once again, are trying to gaslight us into thinking that their actions are like socially acceptable or like they can get away with it because they're Liverpool fans and it's different in my city. You don't know my city and things are emotional in my city. And
when you're from Liverpool,
you get it. If you don't get it, all that kind of stuff. I genuinely think that. And I've been a Trent quote unquote hater. I've not been like Trent's biggest fan throughout his career, his time at Liverpool. I respect what he's done. I know that he's talented and all the rest of it. I've just not put him in certain conversations. However, I do just think as a Liverpool player or Liverpool fan, it's kind of crazy that it's not just that they're booing him, which I think is crazy in itself. It's the telling everybody else to back down and let us just shit on this guy. Club legend. Club legend.
Yeah.
2 Premier Leagues, FA Cup, Champions League, Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
And it's like, not only are they booing him, which I don't agree with, and me and you can't agree with, and that's fine. They'll tell you in the stadium it's a different thing, whatever.
You don't have an emotional attachment.
But I think Liverpool fans being like, no, don't defend him. Don't stand, don't get involved. Let us kill him. Let us send him off in the worst way possible. Yeah. I was seeing that Liverpool are posting like photos of like the team and all this kind of stuff, and they'll crop out Trent and yes, admin W for the admin, crop out that snake. Bro, I think all of that is crazy, and I think if you're a Liverpool fan, like, beyond the childish online games, Trent deserves a lot of love and a lot of respect for what he's done. And I honestly truly think that the reaction is crazy because I don't really think that Trent was crazy disrespectful. Trent might have done a couple of things that Liverpool fans didn't like. Ultimately, he's leaving. Yeah. So they don't like that fact. But along the way, I don't think he was a saint, but I don't think he was necessarily a sinner. He wasn't like, there's been a certain way in which players have left Arsenal Football Club, for example, that I'm like, oh, that was bad, how we did it. Even Sanchez, I love Sanchez, but I know the way Sanchez left Arsenal was bad.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah, it wasn't a good way to. It's not like Trent has done the Sanchez thing. Yeah. It's not like Trent's done.
Signed a new contract, but the boy inside me started screaming, man.
Nasri and all those guys. Yeah. It's not like he's even done that kind of stuff, yeah. Trent has kind of like... Yeah. That's what we're in Barcelona shirt.
This might be the worst one.
Literally. And all of that, as I've grown older, like, my feelings of hatred have like simmered, but still, I understand why fans don't like Nasri. I understand why fans don't like Cesc or whoever it is. Yeah. But I truly just believe that for everything that Trent's done, if you're a person older than 15, well, and you've seen Liverpool through the dark ages. If you're older than 15, you've seen Liverpool go through the banter era. So one of the guys that really pulls you through it and isn't a criminal, he's not like, he's not said he's leaving in Jan. He's not like chilling with Jude. It's not like every photo on his Instagram is him, Jude, and Mbappe. It's not, it's not one of those things where he's proper snaked. He's proper like, there's under no circumstances am I signing a new deal.
Yeah.
He's come out and he's just doing sit down interviews. Lukaku saying this, and I'd love to go and play for this club. He's not done any of that.
Yeah.
He just made a decision at the end of the season that was inevitable. I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
So look, maybe Liverpool fans in the comments can tell us a more respectful way in which Trent could have left the club. But I feel like Liverpool fans are just throwing their toys out the pram.
They wanted him to sign a deal release clause of like 70 million, but it's like Real Madrid aren't going to pay that. Right? So that just, I mean...
And if it goes both ways. If Liverpool fans want Trent to have been loyal to Liverpool, in that sense, sign the deal, demand a 70, 80, 100 mil fee, but would you have demanded that Liverpool respect Trent the same way? Like, it's business at that point. That whole contract stuff is business. Are Liverpool fans demanding that other club legends get the same amount of respect that they probably deserve for their career? Basically, if Trent signs that deal, he's loyal, he's a soldier, he's this, he's that. But if Liverpool are like, for whatever, Trent's injured or this kind of stuff, we're not going to renew him, we're going to offer him a cheaper deal because we know he's injured or whatever it is. They try and shortchange him on some money. Are Liverpool fans going to be up in arms, being like, or are they going to say, "Oh, that's savvy from the club, that's smart business"? Is it going to go both ways? Because you're going to kill Trent for not demanding a 100 mil fee. But if Liverpool was to axe him, cut him the next day, get Frimpong on the cheap, move Trent out, stuff. But you also know Trent should stay, demand all of this kind of respect for Trent.
I mean, in that sense, like you're saying, that situation is essentially lose-lose for Trent. Yeah, it's also lose-lose for Trent because if Trent does sign that contract extension that Liverpool fans are talking about and whatever, put a release clause in, the release clause will be minimum 70, 80 million. Yeah. Florentino Perez doesn't want to pay that. Yeah. So if he has to, not for a right back anyway.
Yeah.
So if he has to pay money for a right back, he'll go and buy someone on the market for 20, 30 million or whatever, right? Or go and potentially sniff out another free transfer. So then Trent doesn't get what he wants. He has to stay at Liverpool. And if he leaves the way he has, then Liverpool fans hate him anyway, right? So he obviously wants to go to Real Madrid. And that's a decision that I think should be respected. There is, and I said this to you when it broke before, I was like, Liverpool fans
think that Liverpool is the biggest club in the world.
It's the pinnacle, right? Especially when they're in this moment and they've won the league and Trent's won everything there. And guys are saying, we know Trent can win European Cups at Liverpool and we know Trent can win league titles at Liverpool and whatever.
What do you think? Like, I understand, as much as I said that, I think the reaction is crazy. I understand that there is maybe a rush of blood to the head and it is just emotions, and ultimately when things settle down there'll still be murals of Trent and all this love for Trent. So from the fans' point of view, that is what it is. But what do you think about players, managers, sort of their comments around Trent? Because I think as well, as crazy as the fan reaction has been for everything that Trent's won, if I was a fan, I would try and show Trent a bit more respect for what he's done for us.
Yeah, the manager
and the players.
But quickly, before, because I've got that written down as a note, I do just want to say that I'm not saying that Liverpool fans should be happy that Trent's
yeah.
None of that. Like, we made the comparison with Saka, yeah, and if Saka had won what Trent's won even before they won the league title this season, yeah. I mean, again, it's not like Trent's leaving you in a down period. You've just won the league and he's about to go. But even if Saka had done that, yeah, and it's a similar sort of position. Liverpool hadn't won a league title for 30 years. Yeah, 30.
That's crazy.
And Trent was a massive part of that. Yeah, winning that first one, and he's obviously going to win a second one. If Bukayo Saka wins one at Arsenal, and 2-3 years down the line, he starts running down his contract, and the Madrid rumors start building, he wants to go, I'm going to be disappointed, yeah? And I said that when we spoke about this
at the
2
time,
months ago, because we've said it before with Saka, Ethan, Miles, it's the closest thing to a fan on the pitch. I would just want them, because how much I call him my son, whatever. I would just want him to stay at the club. So I would be disappointed. But I'm also aware that
there's bigger clubs.
You only have one career, as a football player. You might only have one opportunity to go and play for Real Madrid. If that's what you really want to do, right? And you feel like, because Trent probably feels like he's accomplished what he wanted to at Liverpool.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
when Trent first got into the team, like I said, they hadn't won a trophy for a league title for 30 years. Right, he wins that, he wins the Champions League. If Saka does that and he decides, yeah, look, that's where I see my future, then it is what it is. I'm going to be upset, so I can understand Liverpool fans being upset. I can understand them being disappointed and thinking maybe, but no way. And they're going to tell me, well, you wait till it happens. But no way would you ever see me boo Saka.
Cuss him out.
No way.
Call him a snake.
Yeah,
rat,
no way.
spit
no
on
way.
him, all that kind of stuff.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure you're the same with that, innit?
I 100% agree. As I said, I feel like the feelings of like, I don't know, hatred and hate in my heart and all that stuff, I feel like it's for under 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
I feel like you have, once you hit 15.
No, but I do still, maybe not Arsenal players, but I do still hate some players.
No, hating players, that's fine. But in terms of like, well, my point is like
this sort of like visceral reaction.
This visceral reaction to a player leaving your club. Yeah, and bear in mind, as I say, we've had players leave our clubs in terrible ways. Yeah. But ultimately, I think once you turn 15 and you look at the landscape of football, you realize I support a club and this is where they are in the pecking order generally.
But that's the biggest difference, though, isn't it?
And
so
we're
aware of
you've said that. But that's what I think you turn 15, and from majority of football fans, whatever club you support, and you look at the situation that you look at the situation that your club is in, and you say, all right, I support a feeder club. All right, I support, this club. I support a club that does this. We buy players from whatever the situation may be. Yeah. And you're right. Liverpool fans see themselves as right next to Real Madrid. See themselves as right next to Barcelona.
You can win here, but you can win there.
In the situation that you gave me with Saka, if Saka did what Trent's done and he's gone to Barcelona or Real Madrid, yes, disappointment, yes, all of those things. But ultimately, I know those two clubs are bigger than Arsenal. Yeah. If Saka or Trent was going to an Inter Milan, not even Inter Milan club, but like Napoli, Florentino, whatever. Some club that's coming up, and it's like it seems lateral.
Yeah, because even the Madrid one, even when it's Barca, I would probably still feel a bit differently, but there's probably history there with some whatever. The Madrid one is very much like I said, the Los Blancos, the Galacticos,
the Merengues.
There's a brand.
Yeah.
Even if, and I don't think it's true because I think there's no place in world football more guaranteed for trophies than Madrid. But even if you want to say that Trent can win league titles and Champions Leagues at Liverpool, so he doesn't need to go to Madrid to win that. In terms of a football player, like I said, only having one career, if you want to go and build a brand, if you want to go and be
it's a bit more than that,
a universal name, a household name, a worldwide name, David Beckham, look at these guys that made them move, Jude Bellingham and what he's doing. Like I said, you have one career. I can't get onto Saka for going to do that, right? And we've like nuanced this conversation as well of that if Saka goes before he's won something at Arsenal, then it's probably a bit of a different conversation.
Yeah.
But Arsenal have been 22 years without
Premier League.
Yeah, so it's very similar to Liverpool. Yeah, and I can tell you now, if Saka comes and he delivers that, then
I also just think that I mean, we can beat the bush with this in terms of like, we all know why Trent's made his move. We all know the reasons of the global brand. There is a little bit of like maybe feeling underappreciated in England. He's not starting for England. He's had like several tournaments now where he's been maybe the best right back in the league, but then playing second or third fiddle to somebody else. And there's all these reasons, Gary saying this about his defensive responsibilities and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. But to your point, man, I just think that Jude, you've mentioned Beckham, but I think Jude couldn't have been a more obvious factor, like indicator of what happens when you go to Madrid. Jude was always a good player. Jude was always highly touted. Jude, he lost the Bundesliga on the very last day, the season before he joined Madrid. Yeah. One season at Madrid, he's third in the Ballon d'Or. Third. One season at Madrid, he's the biggest name, one of the biggest names in football. He's got Gucci, he's got all these kind of guys at his doorstep. So it's beyond just the like winning of the trophies, as you've said. He can win trophies at Liverpool, he will win trophies at Madrid, but there is a bit more that these massive clubs, brands offer you beyond just like tangible trophies. As we say, Jude third in Ballon d'Or. Third. First season at Madrid, he's just third in the Ballon d'Or. He'll be like, Jude's not even had the best season ever this season. He'll probably be like, he'll be in the top 10 somewhere. Somehow. Jude will be in the top 10 for the Ballon d'Or. You know, it's just that's what it is when you get to the big clubs,
Yeah.
man. And obviously, that's what Trent wants. He wants to have
And
that
I think
adulation.
a massive part of it for Trent is Trent feels like he's achieved what he wanted to achieve at Liverpool. Yeah. And if the guy, he's won everything, literally everything he can possibly win at Liverpool. Like, I'm not really, I don't really understand how you can get onto a guy who then decides, yeah, I want to go to the biggest club in world football and do this. I've
I expected though.
completed everything here,
I
kind of.
expected though the players to get proper behind Trent, like especially Van
Yeah,
Dijk and
yeah,
Salah, who've been with him for 5, 6, 7 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Van Dijk's one was a bit
I
nasty,
expected them to be like everyone
but
must not.
Van Dijk's hurt.
But I expected everyone to say everyone can't forget what Trent's done for this football club. He's the
Yeah,
best right
yeah,
back I've
yeah,
ever played with.
yeah.
He's the most talented right back or whatever. He's the nicest guy. He's
Which
the
Robertson kind of did.
Robertson tried, but even Robertson was
He
like, I
was
don't
with
want to
the
tell
fans.
people
Yeah,
how to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
feel. And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I look, it's tough for Liverpool players. You've just won the league. You don't want to sort of draw lines in the sand with yourself and your fans. You should be closer than
Yeah,
ever before.
yeah. With the players, yeah.
But I just feel like if I'm Trent and I'm looking around the dressing room, not really at new guys, especially if you don't really speak English, because if you like, McAllister or some of these South American guys who've
Yeah,
just
yeah,
turned up,
yeah.
like I'm not expecting you to go to war for me in the press. But Van Dijk, captain, Salah, vice captain, been there forever, slot manager, I would be telling fans like, all right, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I would end every sentence with I never want anything without Trent, kind of like the Jordan Pippen thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like you've got to be like
With the with the players, yeah, I can understand that the players they need to make sure that like they kind of toe that line, and I think Robertson actually did it pretty well. He came out and backed Trent wholeheartedly, and he also saying the fans can feel how they want to feel. I'm not going to tell them, and I understand that from the players, yeah. Van Dijk's one was a bit nasty because Van
there's
Dijk was,
nowhere else I
yeah,
would rather
yeah,
be
that's a bit of a nasty quote
at this
because
stage of my what is he at this
you're throwing like fuel on the fire, right?
your
By
captain.
doing that, yeah, yeah. But on Slot, I have the biggest issue with, yeah, because I think he behaved like an absolute coward, yeah, and I think it was, I don't want to say disgraceful, yeah, but it was, I genuinely thought it was kind of pathetic, yeah, the way that Onslaught came out and was like the same old bullshit. I'm not going to tell the fans how to feel, and they can do what they want to do, and but like as a manager, yeah, I feel like your job is to come out and back your players and defend your players, yeah.
It's got 2 games, 3
No
games
matter
left.
how much it, like, look at us, yeah. We've sat here every week from February to saying Odegaard needs to come out.
Yeah.
But every week Arteta will play him.
Yeah.
Every week Arteta, he defines the way we play, and all of this he comes and he defends him. Yeah. The biggest comparison I can give is Arteta and Havertz. Yeah. At the start of last season, Havertz going through a rough patch. I'm there at the Emirates. Havertz is giving the ball away. Everyone's groaning. You can hear that there's like guys are ready to get onto Havertz. And Arteta publicly comes out and says that the Arsenal fans need to stick with him. They need to believe in him. They need to trust him, and we'll see the best from him. Yeah, and we saw the best season of Havertz's career last year in terms of goal scoring and whatever.
Yeah.
The Onslaught coming out and doing this touch and go. I'm not really going to talk about his quality or what he's done for us this season or how great a player he's been. I didn't even. And Onslaught's the one, let's not forget, that puts him in the position of, I'm going to keep you on the bench and then I'm going to bring you on, and you can get this reception and you can see what it's like. And I wouldn't be surprised if Onslaught does it again.
I also won't be. Look, Trent loves Liverpool. Yeah, I think it's kind of sad that Trent could leave Liverpool potentially being booed out of the club after what he's done, just for, as you say, one career, one choice, all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Do you think it was Trent, like, it was a shock to him?
I think he expected it, but I don't think think you can ever prepare yourself. I think he knew.
Booze, not just a bit of like.
Trent's a local lad.
You're getting the ball and
Trent's a local lad.
Doing every touch.
I don't know if so that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he expected booze, but I know he expected pushback and hate and vitriol and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. But I think that the like velocity of it, like I don't know if he genuinely expected to get booed by Anfield, but he expected it wasn't going to be easy. He knew it was going to be tough. He knew there was
some reaction.
All this kind of stuff. I just think that if Trent if it stays the way it is, and it doesn't he doesn't get cheered on the next game or whatever. He's constant boos, touches the ball, boos. I would love to see that create a demon in Trent quietly, very quiet. Trent will never come out and say anything. Trent will never come out and do anything.
Real Madrid play Liverpool next year.
The long balls to Mbappe and Jude. And...
Trent free kick goal at Anfield.
No, he won't shush anyone.
Yeah, if they send it, imagine he comes back with Real Madrid and he's still getting booed.
No, the only time I think he can ever,
as a player, when you're on that pitch and like you're back in your hometown, the club.
I need Trent to play a victim. I'm not gonna lie. The only time I can see Trent switching publicly is if like parade tour.
Yeah,
he's lifting up the trophy to the city and they're booing him, like on the bus on the 2020.
I think it could happen
on the 2025 bus. Van Dijk.
You know how hostile Anfield.
Van Dijk's gone up there and Van Dijk's lifted the trophy. Cheers. Salah's gone up there. Salah's lifted the trophy. Cheers. They've said it's 2-2 speech about what it means to play for Liverpool, signing, staying. And then Trent goes up there, boo. Trent's trying to get on the mic, boo. Trent's trying to say, I love this. This has been my I've born and raised in this city. I've been playing for Liverpool my whole boo.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
that's when I'm like,
it's probably going to be a build up of things, yeah. But I mean, if he goes to Anfield with Real Madrid next year in a Champions League game, and he goes to take a corner, and they're giving him dogs abuse, snake, rat, whatever else they want to say to him, forget about. Because once
professional pride.
Once you're on that pitch, things are emotional.
Yeah.
Like we saw his celebration against Leicester, and guys are kind of laughing back at that now, to the away fans or whatever, right. But what you do when you score a goal, if he's getting dogs abuse in that game at Anfield, and he goes on bags.
But I think it was pretty obvious his celebration at Leicester in the sense of like before Leicester, obviously there was the United game couple months before, and everyone was saying that Trent's given up. Jamie, I'm worried that Trent just doesn't care anymore. Yeah, I think Trent was doing the whole celebrations at Leicester because he's trying to show guys that, hey, look, I've always cared, I've always given my all, I've always given. I don't think it had anything to do with the contract in the sense of like.
But it was straight after Ornstein had dropped the.
No, the Ornstein one was not the timing, so I'm never going to help anyone.
And then the next game,
the time isn't. I'm not going to help anyone. I think
that celebration at Leicester was a bit.
I don't think that screamed to me, I'm staying.
No. That's not what I'm saying. But there was a lot of emotion in that.
There was.
Trent doesn't normally celebrate, like ripping his shirt.
But Trent, and you know what? Trent's been.
For whatever reason, I'm not saying it's because he was staying or just for whatever reason, there was emotion.
No, the spotlight was on him. Guys were telling him that he's given up.
Yeah, I think Trent was at that point, because obviously Ornstein had dropped the bomber, and we spoke about it then about he's getting called a rat and a snake and all of this. Trent's obviously aware of that. We know football players are on social media; they see that stuff. I think there was a bit of.
But also, you're saying the Madrid thing, the Madrid, Liverpool, yet another thing Jude will hold his hand through. I've been back to Dortmund. Don't worry, I've played Dortmund again. I've gone back. It's different. It's Liverpool more emotional, but. Jude will tell him, "Don't worry, bro. When we go there and we win, don't worry. Mbappe's on there. I've told Vinny.
I told Fede.
It's one for you to win. This will be a good one. This will be a good one to get him ingratiated in us. And don't worry.
I need that group stage game, man. I need who's the fucking the Alexander Seferin or whatever. I need him to take a leaf out of Adam Silva's handbook. Right, rig this stuff, get these fixtures there in the group stage. But yeah, look, enough on that. Trent's going to Real Madrid. He goes. I've always liked Trent as a player. I've always spoken highly of him. You know that. I always think it's disrespectful to put Reece James in the conversation, but I think guys have stopped doing that.
He's not played enough.
Which is why it's disrespectful.
Yeah,
you have to be on the pitch to do whatever, right? Look at Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid and Reece James.
That's a nasty comparison. That's a nasty comparison.
Just putting it out there. But look, wish him all the best in Madrid. And it's funny that Liverpool fans thought that they were going to get Jude Mendy.
Alonso.
Zubamendi's back.
All at Madrid now.
To be fair, I haven't got a segment here on Zubamendi, even though Nick specifically asked for one, but maybe MVPs and rookies.
Yeah. We'll give him his thing.
Look, we said top 4 race heating up. There was a big game on the weekend, game I've been looking forward to for a while. Newcastle versus Chelsea. Big win for Newcastle. And I said it to you. I think Newcastle's the toughest away game, at least for any big six club. Yeah, if City, if Man United, if Liverpool, if Arsenal, whoever go to Newcastle, go to St James's Park. I think that's the toughest away game. Oman told me he was there. Shout out Oman.
Soldier.
I think the last away day he did was Brighton
No,
on Valentine's Day when he took his missus, and all he got was an apology from Maresca.
Soldier, away fans, bro. When you get pumped, and
he went up to Newcastle to see Jackson Elbow.
Bro, you're Rosed up in the gods.
But Amar said to me, he was like, I can't even explain how loud St James's Park is when that first goal goes in, and I can hear it from home. I can feel it from home.
But the reason Newcastle, like, there's a lot of reasons why Newcastle's a tough place to go to for a lot of different teams. It's the top 6, yeah. But this game, and I enjoyed actually using this cliche. And typically, I hate it, but I enjoy using this cliche. But Newcastle, they just wanted it more. There was Caicedo out there who wanted it quite a lot. Yeah, they want maybe too much. Caicedo wanted it, but I think by and large, to a man, the Newcastle team, if there was an extra 5 yards to run, Newcastle players running it.
Yeah,
if there's, you know,
did you see the Bruno G and Enzo?
Yeah.
And then after Bruno G scores, he blows him a kiss on the way back. Come on, man.
I think it's a tough place to go for several reasons, but I just don't see Chelsea as the team that like want it. Like, I'm thinking Chelsea were kind of hoping that they could coast there. Yeah, and they've done their best efforts to coast all the way to Champions League football. But why they lost this game, why they got outplayed by Newcastle, you have guys like Tonali who are willing to run like 15 kilometers on any given match day. Willock is, Murphy's like, play me wherever, just anywhere. I'll just run 10K up and down for you. Yeah, Livermento's the same thing.
Even Gordon.
Willing worker. Willock's willing to come on. Willock's running power. Touch, go rough.
And you know, after they beat Liverpool, I think Chelsea fans really kind of thought, and we saw their celebrations.
Yeah, they won the league. They won the league at that point.
Cole Will going crazy with the Chelsea fans at Stamford Bridge. And even Amar messaged me, he said he got too gassed after Liverpool. But I don't know about you, but I like, even after they won that game, this was always a fixture I looked at and just thought, Chelsea won't win this game.
The loss.
And to be fair, I look at Newcastle away like that for almost every.
But the loss was damning. Like, it's almost out of your hands. And I know you need to win 2 games to get in, but I just don't see Chelsea winning 2 games. And as we were saying, the top 4 race is the only reason to watch Premier League football. This is the most interesting race. We need to see what's going to happen, who's going to cough it up. Everybody's had a lot of chances and bites at the apple, but I just can't see Chelsea getting over the line because I just don't know how hard they're willing to work to actually do this. And I don't think that Chelsea are necessarily a lazy team. Like, I don't think that they I don't think that they're lazy. I just don't think that they necessarily play with the urgency or have the positions where you need urgency. I just feel like Chelsea are lacking. That sort of mental toughness.
I do think that the Newcastle away game is a harsh one to judge them on that though, because
fair. Newcastle's
like
going to be up
like
for
you
it.
say, Chelsea don't want it, but who wants it as much as Newcastle?
No, I hear you.
And I'm not disagreeing with your point. Chelsea are a bit like that. I just think this one might be a bit.
Look, and that's fair, but it's also the same reason why.
I think against Man United, I think that kind of urgency and thing you're talking about, Amarim's 5-back, I think we could.
The Amarim one will be interesting, because like, if there is a lazy team, it's United. Like, if there is a team that's lazy in the league, it's Man United.
But they can also, we saw when we played them, they could also frustrate you.
Yeah, they can. I just think that that one is nip and tuck, and the game's normally like quality, and like whoever plays a decent through ball can win the game for either team, because there'll only be one of them.
You should have Casemiro header.
There'll only be one of them in the game. But in general, why I knew Chelsea weren't going to beat Newcastle, why I don't think Chelsea are going to make it into the top 5 to make Champions League football, is because I just don't think they have the grit. I don't think they grab games by the scruff of the neck. The Newcastle game isn't a good example. It's not like Newcastle scored after 2 minutes. It's not like there was a game there to win. Jackson gets sent off like 25 minutes later. But I just think it's been the tale of Chelsea's season. Like the games that they've drift by, ghost by.
They haven't beaten Ipswich this year.
They come back to bite you at this exact stage where it's crunch time and you're looking and you need points and you need wins. And like, you would rather have been going into these games saying you only need 2 draws to get Champions League football than saying I need 2 wins to get 100%. Champions League football. And
or a win and a draw. If they went to Forest on the last day needing a draw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But the needing of 2 wins, I think it makes it tough. And it was a 6-pointer for Newcastle. Newcastle was just dead and buried. Like Chelsea's told Ting and said, we're going to be there.
Yeah, and we know how that feels.
And it's also about timing, innit, man? Like Newcastle, the run they've put together towards the back end of this, middle to back end of the season is better than the run timing-wise than Chelsea put together at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so maybe that's a bit of managerial, like
even Forest
leadership. Yeah, exactly.
Look up Forest as well, and they look like a shoe-in.
Yeah,
they were getting their points on the board.
Yeah, even until like 6 weeks ago, Forest were like,
and then they lost at home to Everton, at home to Brentford. They've drawn at home to Leicester.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it's looking a bit sticky for Forest now as well. And I did say that I thought it would be Villa, Newcastle, and City getting there.
Fair.
And Villa got a big win at Bournemouth. When you look at
massive
how the rest
win.
of the results went,
Villa,
they're in with a real chance now. But we might discuss that top 4 a bit more next week after there's been some more games and whatnot. We have to talk about Manchester United, and Tottenham Hotspur, who are actually 16th and 17th in the Premier League. And I saw Cam saying that like this is being normalized. Yeah, like nobody's really, like United fans are just talking to me about how they're going to pick up a trophy and how Arsenal are going to go another year without a trophy. And it's just very shameless that seems to be no acknowledgement of where they are in the league.
Let me read out their record. Man United in 16th have played 36, won 10, drawn 9, lost 17 with a minus 11 goal difference on 39 points. Tottenham in 17th played 36, won 11, drawn 5, lost 20 with a 4 goal difference.
So they've lost 30. They basically lost the whole season between them.
Yeah.
And neither of them have hit 40 points yet.
And neither of them have hit 40 points.
And guys are saying that both of them are going to lose their last 2 games. So.
2 games to go. It's kind of funny that Tottenham have won more games than Man United.
Yeah. But they've only drawn 5. lost 20. But look, I think that's being normalized. I think we know United fans are shameless. They'll always be shameless.
I don't even know if normalized is the right word. Like, I just don't think.
But how many United fans are actually telling you, like,
it's United fans?
How many of them are not saying,
we're
going to pick up another trophy and Arteta's not won one and you've been 5 years? How many of them are not saying that and actually telling you?
It should be breaking news. Okay, I see your point because it has been normalized. Yeah, because it should be breaking news every week after every set of fixtures. We should be breaking news. Man United still 16th, Tottenham still.
For both of these football clubs,
there should be side by sides of money spent versus Wolves and West Ham, Everton, all those teams.
Managers
every week. We should be getting the side by side of money pumped into the clubs over X amount of seasons, and the squad worth. When like Man City or someone draw to Southampton,
starting 11,
squad worth this much, squad worth this much. There should be all of that every week. But I think people, I know what to say, but I think people just don't know what to say. Like, I feel like especially pundits, when I say this, obviously there's a lot of United pundits. None of them want to speak about United right now. Everybody just kisses their teeth and, we'll have to see, it's tough, it's sticky at the moment. I don't think Sky should be accepting that analysis.
Yeah.
I don't think Sky should be, unless they're waiting for the end of the season for some sort of big think piece that's going to come out. I feel like there should have been, and I
Well,
get
they're
it.
letting Amorim do it, innit?
Yeah, I get it. They're bringing Amorim out, sit down interview after sit down interview. And Ange's like the opposite, bro. Ange's not talking to anybody right now. But I feel like there should be more made of this. I agree with you 100%. I don't know if it's normalized because I just feel like people are, maybe there's a little bit of too much shock that Sky Sports and whoever just don't know what to say, don't know how to say
I'm
it.
not even really looking too much at Sky and whatever because we know what to expect for them, yeah? Like if this was Arsenal, it'd be front page news every week. But I'm talking more so if you look at the United fans that you know.
Yeah.
Like
there's a dissociation.
Regardless of like one of these teams will win the Europa League. Obviously. But regardless of that, and obviously that means one of them will be playing Champions League football. But it also means that one of them will just have a season where they're finished 16th or 17th and there's nothing else.
Quite literally double some of our worst seasons ever.
And it's officially the worst season in both of these football clubs' history. Their history. So when we were finishing 8th, and that was like one of our worst seasons.
Like the world was ending. Bro.
The way guys were 16th and 17th. I felt like big Man United.
I remember you asked me when we were finishing 8th. It's like, bro, am I even going to be watching football in 5 years? Do I have to find a new sport?
Yeah.
You know, I felt like the world was ending.
I found basketball. I actually want to talk about this conversation. Like I've said my piece on that, right? And I know whoever wins this trophy, they're going to be shameless. And look, you'll never catch me saying that I want Tottenham to win anything, never. Yeah, but your points around
the death,
how good it could be for Amorim to lose a final to Tottenham and then get backed, right? And they're going to back a manager that's just lost a final to Tottenham, and
I'll
there's no Champions League, and you've just all these United fans that are messaging me and whatever.
I'll say it on the pod. I think
the more time goes past, the more I start to like
see the POV.
I could never.
Look, I'm not all the way. I agree. I'm not all the way with the like Tottenham need to win a trophy and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, and obviously Tottenham are our main rivals.
Yeah.
And not necessarily our biggest rivals. Maybe Man United are like, in terms of like, obviously just the stature of the club, But they're our main rivals, local type stuff,
Fiercest,
you know, however you want to put it. But I was saying to Amo, I was like, I truly think if Man United don't win the Europa League, that it is the death of a big club. Like one of the very few deaths that you get to see over time. There's certain clubs that have been low points. Juventus right now, low points. But I'm not quite ready to tell you that Juventus have died. That is, you know.
But they did.
They did. They did. They come back. You know.
Yeah. Sometimes clubs have to do that.
But I think if Man United lose, please just if you're a Man United fan listening to this, if you're any football fan listening to this, if I just read out their record. They've got 17 losses. They've not hit 40 points. We're in May. We've got 2 games left to the end of the season. If Man United don't beat Tottenham in the Europa League final and you just end the season 16th, potentially 17th, because Tottenham might have a step and they might win their last game on the final day of the season and get over it.
Because at the moment, United fans are telling me, well, we're going to play Champions League football next year.
So if Man United lose to Tottenham, and it's the losing to Tottenham is one thing in itself.
There's a big thing.
There's a Europa League final, there's a European final, and you've lost to Tottenham. 0 pedigree in that competition, 0 pedigree in any competition. They've never done that. Ange, clown. We've said Ange's a clown. So there's that piece to it. There's the finishing 17th piece, 16th, 17th. The only 3 teams worse than you in the league. Was shocking. We've all accepted they're the worst 3 teams maybe to come up,
and that is just your season now. There's no bailout.
That's everything. That is your 2025 campaign. You mustered up maybe 40 points. Points. That is another death. Those are 2 deaths right there of a big club. Big clubs just don't go through either of those 2 things. A big club beats Tottenham
because one of them's enough.
Exactly.
One of them's more than
a big club beats Tottenham. A big club gets way more than 40 points. They're not struggling to get 40 points. And then you go into the summer, potentially back in Amorim.
The guy who's just on both of these.
He's just on both of those 2 deaths. He's just lost to Tottenham. He's just only got 40 points. Yeah, and then you go into
And
the
death by
summer.
Tottenham is worse than death by Westbrook.
Oh my god! And then you go into the summer, and then you back Amorim and his wing back plan and his wing back system, and maybe
Tens.
Amorim is talking about we need to be ruthless. We need to be ruthless. The club needs to do things. The club needs to, I just think that if Man United don't win, the what you call it, the like hope, the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not that Man United will never come back. I'm not saying for future purposes they'll never come back, but it could be a Liverpool thing, bro. This 12 years that they've been on without winning, it moves to 20, it moves to 25.
It could be a Newcastle thing. They might have to go down to come back up.
I just think that big clubs, there's normally like Arsenal have had a very shocking season, but there's already Zubimendi in there. Yeah. So maybe things can change. Maybe next year we can be better, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. But if United.
But also, if you describe our season as shocking.
Yeah. I mean, we just finished. Look, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Look,
and there's standards, right?
Exactly. I just think that there is no light at the end of the tunnel of a 16th, of a 16th, 17th finish in the 2025 Premier League campaign. I would expect Brentford, even if Brentford weren't to buy anyone, I would expect Brentford to be ahead of you. I'd expect Palace next season to be ahead of you. I'd expect all of these teams. Wolves, I think Sean Larson stays, maybe gets 12 again next season. That's enough. That's more than Man United. I don't think Man United can attract players. I think the type of players that Man United would need to attract to transform their league form next season are going to cost big dough and big wages. And then that means you might only be able to afford 1, 2, 3 of those players, and that's maxing out. And Man United need way more than 3 players if you finish all this kind of stuff, unless you're willing to let Kobe grow. And I just think when you get into those kind of conversations, you as a big club you've taken hits, bro. I think you're on the ropes, if not dead. Ref is saying we need to call this
standing count.
All of that. Whereas for Tottenham, if Tottenham lose, it's shocking. It's Tottenham's worst season ever. It's all of this, but it is as expected.
And a big thing is that win or lose, Andrew will be sacked.
Win or lose, Andrew will be sacked. No one expected Tottenham to finish 17th, but I don't think anybody expected Tottenham to win the Europa League.
Yeah.
So, it will be a season that will be talked about in Tottenham history amongst Tottenham fans, and other fans will probably make love. But if Man United really don't win it, and there's no redeeming qualities from this season, and Amorim gets to spend 200 mil, that is the epitome for me of the death of a big club. Darkness. That is.
We're going to see Ratcliffe say, that was a mistake. This was another one.
And there is and I don't want to put this out there, but there is the sneaky possibility. Amorim's kind of already said it himself. Amorim could get backed and walk by match week 12. So where do you go from there?
I was going to make a point on this, Like, I actually, and we've said all of this, I actually have a decent amount of respect for Amorim.
Yeah. Because I don't think he's trash.
I think Amorim speaks well in his interviews. It's not like Ten Hag, who I just think is a scrub.
Actually, I think Ten Hag was lying to us, bro. I was saying with Ten Hag, like, Dutch guys speak English. Dutch guys, they speak English, they understand things. Well. Ten Hag was moving like English was his 4th or 5th language.
But look, it's not like Ten Hag. I thought Ten Hag was a scrub. Ten Hag tactically was just so far off it. He just never recovered from the Zerbi schooling. And it was over for him. But with Amorim, like you say, Amorim saying that if we start next season and it's this bad and the environment and the culture and everything is still the same, then I'll walk, And I respect that. Firstly, I respect that.
I respect that. Crazy.
Because Amorim is also, like, he's saying that because he knows that what has happened since he's come into the job has been unacceptable. He's aware of that. He's won 6 Premier League games. 3 of them were against promoted teams. And he's also saying that categorically that winning the Europa League doesn't save their season, right? He came out with that interview yesterday, I think, that's been going round of, when I look at the league table, I feel embarrassed, right? That's a direct quote from Amorim. But me and you probably as well have United fans telling us about how we're so much better than Arsenal and we're going to have a much better season
3
than
seasons
Arsenal.
in a row.
Look at what your manager's saying, bro. He's telling you that regardless of whether you win this trophy or not, right, the season's a failure, right? He's embarrassed when he looks at the table. So
Club legends, post goals.
Yeah, right? United fans should feel embarrassed as well. And I compare that to someone like Ange, who It's basically saying that if we win this trophy, this season, we'll
washed away.
forget about it. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to look at it. I'll win this trophy, and then I'll be remembered for that, and the club and everything else. And just the difference between the two of like, I can see that Amorim, like he's an actual coach, like he's not willing to just sit here when things aren't working.
I think,
and he understands that regardless of whether we win this Europa League or not,
This
that
is not
doesn't
good
mean that
enough.
we're going to come back next year and we're going to start doing well.
and what you telling me, Amorim's is eyeballing who's too happy with the Europa League, who's feeling content.
Probably.
If he sees a player content with the Europa League, you've got to go. Your name is on
Well,
the
I
list.
don't know if he's that ruthless. And ultimately, I said when Amorim came, that I think Amorim's a good coach, and I still think Amorim's a good coach, but he will fail at Man United because he won't get supported.
No, the recipe for disaster Man United is clear. I think Amorim wants the Europa League. Obviously, yes, all that stuff, but I think it saves him, like his legacy internally. Like coming into the job, everybody sort of had high estimations for Amorim, thought he was a decent coach, thought he could do well. Obviously, things haven't gone to plan like that, but I think if Amorim wins a Europa League, as a naysayer, as a hater, all this kind of stuff, I'm like, bro, none of that squad screamed Europa League winners. So he has something about him. And I think Amorim will take that and run with it. Like, if he doesn't get,
that's where I disagree though.
If he doesn't get backed in the summer, he will stay until the end of the summer. Yeah, for sure. Like he'll get the transfers done and all this kind of stuff. He'll start the new season. I agree with all of that. But I think he will know in the back of his mind, once I have this Europa League, my stocks are not completely tarnished.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah?
But
I can survive. I can survive this. And you club will tell me, come.
Yeah. But to be honest, I think Amorim's young enough to
get the benefit of the doubt anyway.
In terms of like taking the win and running with it, nobody's gonna do that more than Ange. Nobody. Yeah. Like
in that sense,
the reason I've got this like a level of respect for Amorim is because I agree with what you're saying. He'll win it. His stocks, like, regardless of, he might spend less than a year at Man United, but he's picked up a European trophy. All of that, But in Amorim's own mind, he will know, and I think from what he's been telling us, he knows that even if I win this trophy, that doesn't mean that like I've done a good job here. Like he's actively telling us that he feels embarrassed when he looks at the table.
I agree that.
Whereas Andrew will tell us, but I've been the best Tottenham manager since.
And
he will actually run with it like that.
I'm the most successful Tottenham manager ever, and all of that kind of stuff.
I think Amorim's like tactically aware coach.
I don't think that it's so similar because they are Mud brothers, but I see it differently. I don't think that for the exterior, like for the external people outside of Tottenham, that they will look at Ange's Europa League trophy and look at that and be like, that's a great manager. Yeah. And Ange has been through hardships, injuries, all this kind of stuff. Ultimately getting Tottenham over the line is something that should be commended. But I don't think his stocks necessarily rise, if he wins the Europa League with Tottenham after the season.
After claiming that he always wins in his second year.
It should. But I don't know. Maybe it's my own thing. I just don't know where Ange goes next. Yeah. Even if he wins the Europa League, I don't know if like a Sevilla or I don't know if a team in Italy.
But Andrew, like Ten Hag, only Pep has won more trophies. I've won 2 in 2 years. Andrew will do that stuff. For the way Amorim's talking, but I don't think Amorim's coming out.
And Ten Hag is a good example because Ten Hag will get a new job. But I also just don't know where. Is it back in Holland? Does Ange go back to Japan? Like, I feel like if Amorim wins a Europa League, there will be several top clubs. Like, I say top clubs, like top 8 clubs in the top 5 leagues. That will be like, this is worth. This is worth taking a risk on. He's a good manager. Look at his track record, all this kind of stuff. We know how shit United are, and he still won a trophy. Whereas I think, and maybe that does come down to communication, and as you say, not being so shameless and just taking a Europa League in a poor season and saying it's a great season. Yeah. But I just don't know with Ange's stocks how internally in Tottenham he's godlike. But externally,
he probably won't. It might have to go back to the A League.
Exactly. Is anybody jealous of Tottenham winning with Ange a Europa League? Is anybody like? I would trade my manager. Like, there's better. Like, Brentford had a phenomenal season. Finished 8th. Well, could finish in the top 10. Would probably say I'll take my top 10 finish over your
Yeah.
with Thomas Frank is as successful as Ange, and
But
you know,
in terms of like their stocks and potential other moves, I agree with you. Amorim will have that. I think even if Ange wins the Europa League, Amorim will have more.
and
Stocks than him.
I think that's been the only thing on Amorim's mind. Not the only thing, but like one of the main things on Amorim's mind to take the United job, to bend over and come early, is to test himself in these biggest leagues, in the biggest competitions, at the biggest stage. Like I feel like for him, even from day one, when guys were telling him to change his philosophy, you need to change, you need to change, you need to change, and he was like,
"If I change, I leave, I die."
I came here. They interviewed. They told me I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what Amorim. He wants to know: can my system work at the biggest stage? Whereas I think for Ange, if I was a GM, I'd still be looking at things like,
it's unsustainable. Yeah, it won't work. But my point is more so that, like, let's say both of those managers were to continue at their clubs,
yeah,
right? And we know that Ange probably won't. So hypothetically,
there's a U-turn.
both of them after winning, right? So if Ange wins the Europa League and he continues at Tottenham next season, Ange is coming out on the Ten Hag stuff of, well, I've won no trophy and I've done this for the club and the club has never done this, and it's like, how can you,
I agree with that.
How can you disrespect me as a manager? How can you talk about me as a manager?
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I feel like from what Amorim's telling us, even if he wins the Europa League, he said it himself, if he comes and starts bad next season, he might have to walk.
Yeah, no, right? I agree with that.
Fair play, respect. Ten Hag's coming out, and when they were putting it on Ten Hag, well, I've won more trophies, I've won 2 in 2 years, I've won all of this. I don't think that Europa League is obviously big. Amorim wants to win that. He can get Champions League football, maybe attract different players, but in the grand scheme of things, of what Amorim's trying to do at Man United, this Europa League, I don't think is that like pivotal, massive for him. Because he understands, a bit like how guys get onto Arsenal for not winning trophies and sack Arteta. Like, we're not winning trophies, and that's a problem. We need to be winning trophies, but we can see that Mikel Arteta, there's a bigger. I think
it really comes down to, like, the older I get, the more I agree. Like, the Premier League being the bread and butter.
Like, Amorim wants to build a good football team.
Yeah.
Ten Hag was quite happy having a terrible football team that might pick up 2 cups.
Yeah.
And is quite happy finishing 17th if he can win this Europa League.
I think it shows for both fans and managers and GMs or whatever. I keep saying GMs, you know, directors of football, whatever. That, like, the bread and butter is actually the league. I always used to toss a coin between Champions League and Premier League of, like, what is more valuable to win. Champions of England, Champions of Europe. Champions of Europe sounds crazy, sounds mad.
Yeah.
But ultimately, fans can only stomach poor campaigns for literally for so long. It's a short fuse. Yeah. It's a short fuse. You might get the one poor campaign with a trophy that will save you, but I think more often than not, fans would rather obviously see both. Fans would rather see good campaigns. You'll remember that a lot longer than you not remember the trophies. Trophies will last forever, but you'll remember that, or a manager, a lot longer for what he did for you in the league and how he had you playing football in the league and this kind of stuff, than the guy who held on and it was terrible and you lost 20 games. And so
literally, so to follow up on that point, like you're saying about good league campaigns and whatever, and to kind of sum up what I've been saying, is that I think if you gave Amorim the option of finishing 6th next season with no trophy, compared to maybe giving Ange the option of finishing 12th with a Carabao.
Who takes 12th with a Carabao?
But I actually think Amorim will take 6th with no trophy over 12th with a Carabao, because, like you say, it being the bread and butter, Amorim seems to me as a guy that's focused on, like, building. Can my 5-back work? Can my 10s? Can I build a good team?
I think
in the best league.
Ange gave up on his wins and loss record before he came to Tottenham. I think before he came to Tottenham, he gave up on judging himself by how many games he's won and lost. For him, it's just about style of play and, you know, whether the boys are doing what I tell them to do.
And that's why I think it's funny that United fans are going to be so shameless if they win this Europa League, when they finish 16th and their manager's telling them that this is embarrassing, when Amorim will actually probably say, if we can finish 6th next season, jump 10 places in the league, show that we've actually, like, come a long way as a team, we might only lose 10.
But, and it's kind of, I agree with your point 100%, but it's not circumstantial, but it's kind of circumstantial because United have shown as a football club that winning trophies doesn't actually even paper over the cracks.
Yeah.
Like every United fan will tell you, FA Cup, that was a great day.
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah,
that day
yeah.
out. It was a great day. But then we were worse next
Yeah,
season.
yeah, and our manager got sacked.
And our manager had to go. So I
Yeah, that is true.
I,
Because Tottenham are the other end of like, we just want to win a trophy.
Tottenham just are so desperate to win trophies, but I don't think United fans can look me in the face and go ham on me. Yeah, when ultimately I know deep down, I can tell United fans, what would you rather just always finish bottom half and pick up an FA Cup than ever see your club finish in a respectable fourth, third, second, come close, win 30 out of 38 games in the season, win 27 out of 38 games in the season? You always just would rather prefer the scam your way
because your league position is like the barometer of how good you are.
Yeah
right,
it is.
Like and the biggest explanation for me, and I'm more like this for me, is both Chelsea teams that won the Champions League. The first one that won the Champions League finished sixth or something. In the Premier League.
The second one was
right. And obviously, that's not me saying it's easy to win the Champions League or whatever, but you can get some luck. You can maybe be defensively set up right. You can maybe find ways to go and do that. I always feel like if you win the league, you're the best team in the league. And
also, if you win the league, I wonder what the lowest position is from a team who won the league the season after. Like, would it be sixth? Would it be fifth? Would it be fourth?
Yeah.
Like, what would be the lowest drop off from a team? Leicester, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But we should probably exclude that one.
Yeah. Whereas, you can win the Champions League, you can win the FA Cup, you can win the Carabao Cup, and have no guarantee of where you'll be next season.
Yeah.
And have no guarantee of where you'll be next season. That, man, we've beat the
at Chelsea. When Conte won it, didn't they finish like 10th or something the season after?
Oh yes, but I guess Conte.
When he got sacked halfway through or something.
Yeah. I guess it would be interesting to see if the manager stayed all throughout the season.
Yeah.
Where did they finish? Look, it's interesting one. It's going to be finely poised, man, and whoever loses is going to catch a shitstorm of heat.
Because then your season is just your league position.
A shitstorm of heat, and everything you've done has only culminated into plus 20 losses in all competitions.
Yeah. That's all it's going to read at the end. No trophy, no nothing. But yeah, look, that's enough on those two. Next time we probably pod might be after the final. We might delay that one next week to potentially talk about it. MVPs and rookies of the week. I'll kick this one off with, I have to, Jalen Brunson. I can't go anywhere else.
Mr. New York.
Maybe Julius Randle. but I have to go Jalen Brunson, man. Taking down the Celtics, taking down the super team.
Yeah.
Joe Mazzulla's psychopathic, move the ball, everybody gets their 3-point
It's not working now.
It just seems like there's no plan for Jalen Brunson. He's unguardable.
I really don't think he can. It's not that Jalen Brunson is like unplannable, yeah, because he's 6'2". He's not like a Giannis or Wemby or something like that.
Yeah.
But the difficulty of shots that he's able to knock down, I don't know if you can plan that one. Like your defender,
Richard Jefferson was calling him the clutch player.
I was seeing Derek White. That's great defense. Derek White's forced him to turn over onto his left side shoulder on a fadeaway 1 foot. He's got Derek White's on top of him. He's got like 5 inches on him. Brunson rattles down. I'm like, no. I'm like, bro. He 100% has got to be an MVP. He's Mr. New York. I've got to give one to Mikal Bridges alongside my bad. I said a lot of stuff about Mikal and how I think he's a fake gangster and all the rest, but Mikal is just stringing along performances. Mikal is just stringing along performances. Like he's actually really getting it done. I'll give another MVP. Yeah, Julius Randle. You mentioned him. Julius Randle. Jules. He deserves his credit, man. This is his best playoff run I've ever seen. I've never seen Julius Randle celebrated this much in the postseason. He normally gets the Harden, whoever else, Westbrook type treatment of just getting killed for not turning up in the playoffs. And now it's crickets for Jules.
Yeah. The Ant effect.
Maybe.
I've also got an MVP for, as I said at the top of the show, Rico Harrison. Because I put a 1.8% chance.
I think it makes sense now.
The Luka trade.
Everything.
Adam Silver's
the way Nico was just so buoyant in like,
Yeah.
I made the right call, I'll do it again.
That video of the front office, the Maps front office, when they find out they get the #1 pick. I don't really know too much about this Cooper Flag guy.
Neither it's from Duke.
Yeah, from Duke.
So
yeah. But yeah, no, Rico. Sorry, I'm gonna call him Rico Harrison. That's officially what I'm gonna call him from now on. Rico Harrison. He's gonna get an MVP because
he's pulled a cat.
And that meme of him looking like that at the camera.
Do you know what's funny about the first pick? It's not just like, oh, they're set up for next season. It's like, you know, we saw what Luka did to that franchise. Not to say that Cooper Flag will do that to that franchise, but that's the potential a #1 pick can do. It can literally change your whole franchise, bro.
And you see, you got #2 pick.
Yeah, it was Spurs. I saw that they were saying that Adam Silver has single-handedly rebuilt the Spurs organization. Single-handedly. He's given them Wemby.
He's gonna green light the Giannis trade.
So what? Spurs, yeah, they've got Wemby, obviously first round, first pick. Stefan Castle, first round, first pick, rookie of the year. Maybe he was second pick, but he's definitely in the first round. And now you've just got the first round, second pick, which they're saying they're going to trade for Giannis.
With De'Aaron Fox already there.
Come on.
Interesting. I've got Jack Della Maddalena.
Yeah.
Became the champ. Serious performance. Took it off Bilal. I think Bilal's a boring fighter, so I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's good.
Any more MVPs?
No, there should be an MVP in the Nuggets Denver series. Sorry, Nuggets OKC series, but I can't.
It'd have to be Aaron Gordon.
It would overall in the series, yeah.
Guys are saying OKC are 2 Aaron Gordon buzzer beaters away from sweeping the Nuggets. 4-0. So if someone's going to get it, it has to be Aaron Gordon.
That is actually pretty funny. No, fair. But I can't really tell you because there's so many, like, not even unlikely heroes. Caruso was making big shots, and then Christian Brown will come and make big shots.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a weird one. In
terms of rookies, Jaylen Brown. I'm going to have to do this.
Harsh.
I'm going to have to do this.
I need to check his box score before you...
They say Jaylen Brown has the easiest job in the NBA. When Boston win, he gets all the praise. And when Boston lose, because he's teammates with Jason Tatum, he gets away with it.
That's nasty.
And Jason Tatum had to put up 40 yesterday in a massive game to try. And all Jaylen Brown did was contribute to Tatum getting a severe injury. From a poor position.
How does Tatum not have his steps right? How does he not know how to spring off from one foot to the other?
Torn Achilles.
What I will say though is, everybody always says, well, LeBron always says, never fuck up the ATO.
Yeah.
And whatever happened there
is Jaylen Brown.
Is the exact fuck up
of
possession. ATO. He got 27-2.
And what did Tatum get?
Tatum got 42, 8 and 4. He was right there
to speak down on my boy.
Right there for that 50-point game.
But now that he's injured, Boston just need to go out immediately because there's no way I'm happy with Boston winning it now.
2-time MVP.
No.
Derek White.
That's the worst one.
Derek White.
I can't have that.
2 franchise MVPs and it's Derek White.
It's done now.
I'll give a rookie of the week to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, that's valid.
I feel like I can sort of exclude Donovan Mitchell. He's tried his hardest. He's given his best. I know they've had injuries, but they needed game 4, in my opinion. And
it's also a bit like the pressure that you were going to put on Shea and OKC.
Yeah.
Not to that extent, but some of that needed to be on Cleveland as well.
Kind of like the Champions League this year. It's like a winnable chip, especially if Boston go down. It's like a winnable chip now. Everybody has just as good a chance as everybody else. There's going to be a new winner. There's going to be a new king to be crowned type stuff, So to not be near it or to potentially have a gentleman's sweep with the Cavaliers. And what I will say is that all of them are like, we've done it before. You know, this organization, we have a history of coming back from 3-1. I just don't know if this indie game has a collapse in them. I think you need to play
too strong.
Yeah, I feel like you need to play, like, you need to be exceptional, and the other team also needs to be susceptible to collapse. And I just don't know if the Pacers are. So Ty Jerome and those guys, you didn't step up. I don't care. You weren't really there for Donovan Mitchell when he needed you the most. I love Max Strus. I always remember what you did for me in Miami Heat. You've been all right. You've been like their second best player, obviously, with Garland out and Mobley out and, all this kind of stuff. But ultimately,
even Darius Garland,
injured, all this kind of stuff. But it's just not enough,
Jarrett
bro.
Allen.
When your coach wins Coach of the Year and you have the best record in the NBA and there's this whole, like, your contenders stuff, you've got to make the Eastern Conference Finals. Not Western. Eastern Conference Finals.
But yeah, we're getting close to the conference finals now.
I know, it's sad actually. I'm not gonna lie. It's good, but it's sad when the games start spacing out and there's less games. And I'm like,
Game 5's already underway. Indy can wrap it up tonight. I'll have my team from the East in the final. The conference finals up against the Knicks. They won't even have to buck Boston. But yeah, look, thank you guys for listening. If you got this far, please subscribe. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Let any Liverpool fans about Trent and the booze. Let us know what you think in the comments. Are we allowed to have an opinion? Even though we're not Liverpool fans, we want to hear what you have to say.
Are you guys allowed to have opinions on other teams, or is this just there's every week? This should only be.
Oh, man, if you've got this far,
Cyclical.
let us know what Quayside was like. I heard Jermaine Genius on Filthy talking about Quayside.
I heard there's the most amount of pubs around the Newcastle Stadium than every other city combined.
Because obviously the game didn't go that well.
You let us know.
Yeah, let us know if there's...
Where's the best place?
Yeah,
what's the best one?
What's going on?
Which tavern is the best tavern?
But yeah, look, thank you guys for listening and we'll see you next week. Peace.